So let's start with a question. What happens when a $70,000 bomb, a tool designed for absolute precision, becomes a billion-dollar intelligence jackpot for your worst enemies?
It means you've just suffered a massive, completely self-inflicted strategic defeat. All the technical secrets, the classified components inside that weapon, they essentially become an accelerated roadmap for your rivals.
A roadmap to neutralize our military advantage.
Exactly, our hard-earned advantage.
And that terrifying scenario is actually unfolding right now. It's why we're doing this deep dive into what might be America's most critical technological vulnerability.
Mm-hmm. And we're focusing on one single piece of military hardware,
Yeah.
the GBU-39B small diameter bomb.
Right. So this deep dive is going to connect a very urgent crisis happening in the Middle East with some history from the Cold War.
And maybe most importantly, with a really disturbing failure of bureaucratic oversight right here at home, our mission today is to show you exactly why Washington is sounding the alarm.
And what this leak, this single bomb, really means for the future of U.S. strategic dominance.
Yeah, globally.
So the news hook here is immediate. It's alarming. We're talking about Beirut, November 2025. Reports are confirming that an intact, undetonated GBU-39B has been recovered.
And not just anywhere. It was found in a strongholds controlled by Hezbollah. And we have to be clear, this wasn't just, some metal debris. It was a fully functional next-generation weapon that just failed to go off.
So what was the reaction from Washington?
Swift. And intensely focused. The U.S. immediately issued an urgent, high-level demand to the Lebanese government
To get it back.
to get the device back. And this urgency, it isn't about recovering one single $70,000 bomb. It signals an acute fear in Washington.
A fear that our biggest rivals, China, Russia, Iran, are already drawing up plans to get that thing and dissect it.
Absolutely. The unit cost maybe $70,000, maybe $90,000.
Yeah.
It's a rounding error. But the secret's inside. That represents billions, literally billions, in American R&D over decades.
So the worst-case scenario is here. A hostile proxy group has its hands on a piece of the core of Western air power, and they're ready to ship those secrets straight to Moscow and Beijing.
It's a five-alarm technological fire, no question.
This cycle, of innovation and then technological leakage, it's not new, is it?
Not at all. It's a historical problem, and it shows why captured U.S. technology is, as we said, a direct roadmap for rivals. It lets them just leapfrog years of difficult R&D.
And close that technological gap the national defense strategy is supposed to maintain.
Right. To really get the modern threat, you have to look back. And there's a nearly perfect case study from the Cold War.
The AM-9 Sidewinder missile incident, 1958.
The Sidewinder. At the time, this missile was revolutionary. It was the premier infrared heat-seeking air-to-air missile. It gave U.S. and NATO pilots a massive advantage in the sky.
An advantage that pretty much dissolved overnight on September 24th, 1958.
That's the day. A Taiwanese F-86 fighter fires an advanced AM-9B at a Soviet-built MiG-17. The missile hits the MiG, but, and this is the crucial part, it doesn't detonate.
And the Soviet pilot actually manages to fly back to base.
He does. He returns safely to base with an American state-of-the-art missile lodged, completely intact, in his plane's fuselage.
Wow.
So, of course, the Soviets just descend on it. And what they found, it surprised even their own top engineers. The American design.
Yeah.
It was just so elegantly simple, modular, a revolutionary rolling guidance system. Totally unlike their own complex, failure-prone designs.
I think I remember the lead Soviet engineer on that project, Gennady Sokolovsky. He later said studying it was like getting a university course in missile construction technology.
That's the quote, and that's the key takeaway. The secret wasn't complexity, it was elegant simplicity. And the Soviets didn't just copy it. Within a couple of years, they were mass-producing their own version, the K-13.
The ATOL.
The ATOL.
Right.
And they immediately developed counter-tactics like infrared flares, which they then gave to China, to the whole Warsaw Pact. So a single failed missile erased the U.S. technological edge in air combat, almost overnight.
Okay, so fast forward to the digital age. The EP3 incident in 2001. Now, the threat isn't just mechanical design, it's software, it's data.
Absolutely. The EP-3 was a highly specialized surveillance plane. It collides with a Chinese fighter, has to make an emergency landing on Hainan Island in China. The crew knew exactly what was about to happen.
The Chinese would want all the classified gear.
Right, so they started emergency destruction procedures. And it was chaos. Smashing hard drives, pouring coffee on sensitive equipment.
It sounds like something from a bad spy movie, trying to destroy state secrets with office supplies.
It really does. And despite all that, U.S. defense officials still believe that China obtained very valuable intelligence. They got our data collection methods, our hardware specs. There was just too much to physically destroy.
And that disaster really lit a fire under the DoD, didn't it?
It did. The EP3 incident directly spurred the Department of Defense to formalize and mandate anti-tamper policies at technology.
The lesson was clear.
Undeniable. If we can't stop them from capturing the hardware, we have to program the hardware to brick itself if it's captured.
Okay, let's jump forward to today. Let's talk about that modern crown jewel that AT Tech was designed to protect, the GBU-39B, the prize that's now sitting in Beirut. What makes this bomb so vital?
So first, just think about efficiency and scale. This bomb is small. It's only 250 pounds.
That's tiny for a bomb.
It is. And its compact size is revolutionary. A modern jet, like an F-15 or F-35, can carry 4 of these in the same space they use for one old heavy bomb.
So you're quadrupling your firepower on every single flight.
Exactly. You're quadrupling the number of targets you can hit per sortie, and then there's the performance.
It's a glide bomb, right, so it doesn't have to be dropped right on top of the target.
Correct. It has wings that pop out after release, letting it glide with extreme precision. It has a standoff range of over 60 nautical miles. That's about 74 kilometers.
And the accuracy is the truly incredible part.
It is. The accuracy is described using circular error probable, or CEP. It means 50% of the bombs will fall within a radius of just 3 feet of the target. 1 meter.
1 meter. That's insane. And it can punch through 3 feet of steel-reinforced concrete?
It's small, it's smart, and it hits like a jackhammer.
Yeah.
But the secret sauce, the reason the U.S. is so terrified, it's all in the electronics.
So what are our adversaries actually hunting for inside that casing?
A few key things. First, the hardened GPS receivers. Now, this doesn't just mean they're physically tough. It means they are designed to function under intense electronic attack. Jamming that would completely blind a normal GPS.
Okay. And what else?
The sophisticated anti-jamming modules themselves. These are the classified algorithms and hardware that let the weapon filter out hostile signals. It's why it maintains that nearly 90% accuracy rate, even in a contested environment.
So if Russia or China gets those microelectronics, they learn how to defeat the very system we rely on to hit our targets.
Gives them the blueprint for both defense and offense. Let's break down what each of our main adversaries would gain.
Okay, let's start with China.
For China, the goal is clear. They could reverse engineer the guidance architecture to seriously enhance their anti-adversarial denial systems, their A2AD, and they could improve their own next-gen glide bombs, like the LS-6. That directly challenges us in places like the South China Sea.
And what about Russia? They already have experience exploiting our tech on the battlefield in Ukraine.
This is a huge win for Russian military intelligence. It would dramatically improve their electronic warfare systems, like the Krasuka, which is their key ground-based jamming system. If they understand how the SDB beats their jamming, they can refine their jamming to defeat the SDB.
And finally, Iran and its proxies like Hezbollah, the ones who actually have the bomb.
Yeah. This is a direct shot in the arm for Iran's precision strike arsenal. Any insights they get would be used to enhance their own Fateh missiles and, crucially, to improve the accuracy of the drones and missiles they give to groups like Hezbollah and the Houthis.
So losing this one bomb is a direct threat to U.S. and allied superiority across the entire Middle East.
Fundamentally, yes.
Which brings us right back to anti-tamper tech. If we knew this risk was so high, why aren't these things designed to just, self-destruct if they fail?
That is the core frustration here. Anti-technology, in theory, is supposed to be that insurance policy. It's meant to make reverse engineering so difficult and so time-consuming that the tech is obsolete before our rivals can even figure it out.
But the problem isn't a technical failure, is it? It's bureaucratic. It's a systemic failure of accountability and oversight. We saw this exposed in that Pentagon watchdog audit on Ukraine aid.
The findings of that audit are genuinely alarming. The U.S. government admitted it failed to track more than $1 billion in military equipment sent to Ukraine.
$1 billion? How does that even happen?
Specifically, 59% of the $1.7 billion worth of sensitive gear, the stuff that requires strict end-use monitoring, was deemed delinquent.
So we're talking about javelin, surveillance drones.
The most sensitive microelectronics. And potentially components related to the SDB family itself. And the auditor said the reason for this was, logistical constraints in a war zone, but also that formal monitoring procedures weren't even set up until December 2022.
Long after the initial shipments had created this unsecured pipeline.
Right. And while officials say there's no credible evidence of, illicit diversion, we know for a fact that Russia is exploiting what it captures on the battlefield. They've studied HIMARS parts, switchblade drones. This failure in tracking just gives them an open invitation.
So wait a minute. How certain are we that this bomb in Beirut didn't leak from that massive unsecured supply chain in Ukraine?
That's a really important question. The sources suggest it was a combat loss in the Middle East, given the context. But your point highlights the massive security gap we created. The failure and oversight means every lost U.S. munition, no matter where it's found, is now suspect.
When the system fails at that scale, you lose all faith in the process.
You do. And the irony here is just, it's unbearable. In Ukraine, the airdropped GBU-39 was hailed as a huge success. It proved resilient to Russian jamming. It maintained that 90% accuracy rate.
So its very effectiveness makes an unexploded one an even bigger pride.
The biggest prize. It proves our anti-jamming system works against their best efforts. Now they just need the physical bomb to find out how it works.
The lesson here seems pretty clear. We use these hyper-accurate weapons to win battles and avoid collateral damage. But their very complexity means that losing just one of them becomes a devastating strategic defeat.
That's it. The true cost of what happened in Beirut isn't the $70,000 price tag. It's the acceleration of rival weapons programs. It's the time and money that Beijing and Moscow now don't have to spend.
It's the erosion of decades of American technological investment.
Precisely.
And it forces us to confront a really profound question. The Beirut incident has reignited these debates in Washington over self-defense mechanisms for our own weapons. If we can't trust the bureaucracy to secure the technology, maybe the technology needs to secure itself.
Absolutely. And the provocative thought for you to consider is this. Should all future U.S. precision-guided munitions be required to have mandatory, irreversible self-erasure mechanisms, systems that automatically destroy the sensitive microelectronics the instant a detonation failure is detected? It would ensure America's secrets are never, ever handed over intact to those who want to use them against us. It's a debate between reliability and ultimate security.